Usually we don't live alone, right? We can't live alone. We always live in combination with others, from big to small. For example, look at yourself now. How many things around you are yours? The shirt you're wearing, okay? You bought it with your money, but someone else made it. Few people sew their own clothes. The watch you wear, did you make it? No, a company made it. In that company, there are engineers, workers, machine operators, cleaners, packers, shippers, labelers, etc. for that watch. It's almost certain that you didn't touch the process of making that watch. This morning you had breakfast, you ate a bowl of beef noodle soup. Did you cook that bowl of beef noodle soup to eat for 30 days in a row? No, most of the time someone else cooked it. Maybe the owner of the shop cooked it, or your wife or your mother cooked it. Sometimes you cook it yourself. Or if you do cook your own food, it's very difficult for you to make your own sandals. Sometimes we look and we get caught up in our own lives, but most of the things we touch, we come into contact with, are around us, are the contributions of others. So it's very difficult to live alone in the literal sense. So what about the relationship between people? It's also very difficult for us to live alone. I'm very scared when the information of self-help now, there are good things, but there are also bad things. It's not good that people put too much emphasis on living alone and not living with anyone. But people are social creatures. The skill of being alone should be there, but calling on people to live alone, don't trust anyone, don't confide in anyone, don't interact with anyone, I think this is too much. And we call on everyone to live alone like that. And at the same time, we cry over a new pandemic called the loneliness pandemic. So I say that there should be good times to be alone, but still have to consider the interaction with others and should actively learn about it, whether you are introverted or extroverted. From the place that I believe that a healthy life needs to have friends, needs to have relationships, needs to have exchanges, then I think more about the calculation of life. The calculation of life here is calculated in the reciprocity between one person and another. Usually, we think in terms of addition, but gradually I see that the addition is not very accurate because it can cause a misunderstanding of the value of the resonance between one or two people. For example, my dignity is 1, your dignity is 1, so we add up to 2. Sometimes we think that 1 plus 1 equals 2 is bigger, so I used to think so too. Okay, this is fine, but for example, my dignity is 0.5, your dignity is 1, we add up to 1.5, which is bigger than each of us. But be careful, you meet someone who has trouble, you meet someone who has, I use the word dignity is a bit too much, but let's call it quality of happiness, quality of spirit, etc. If it's only 0.5, then you meet someone who has a problem like that. Do you think your life will increase or decrease? If you think in terms of addition, 1 plus 0.5 is 1.5. It goes up, but it seems that this is wrong. And I thought about it, and I saw that thinking in terms of multiplication is more correct. I'm a bad person, for example, very hot-tempered, very swearing, very blaming, and I give myself 0.5 points. I meet someone with 1 point, let's say that good points are from 1 or more, then now that person meets me, we multiply each other, then 1 times 0.5 is 0.5. The result of the multiplication here must be noted high so that everyone remembers the product. It only comes out 0.5. That means this resonance, 2 people put together, I have pulled the other person down and affected the quality of their life. I thought about this. Of course, when I say that I take someone as an example, A, B, C, and I say you, the quality of your happiness, the quality of your life is only 0.5, then I insult them. What right do I have to give points? So I have to take the liberty of taking myself to play a bad role, to know that, for example, I'm grumpy, I'm mean, I'm unhappy, I have problems. And when I combine with someone, it can be about love or business cooperation or friendship. Almost I will hurt them, almost I will pull their lives down. And to a certain stage, they can either be mean like me, or they can get bored and leave. Of course, those who follow the positive doctrine will say that the person with 1 point can completely persuade and help the person with 0.5 points to go up. But in reality, you guys, the person who is at the lower level of happiness, who has more problems, will pull the other person down more. The proof is that you see the breakups, the relationships go away. The good person helping the bad person to improve and change, it does happen. but it happens less often than people break up, people get divorced. Usually people are disappointed with the personality of the other person. That is, you are too negative, you see this and that too much, and you pull me down, you pull the quality of my life down, you turn my life into hell. You hear these things are not strange at all. And I have to get out of this relationship. So I think that thinking in terms of multiplication, we will see the nature of a person at a lower level, pulling a person down, or even two people with the same low level of happiness, this person 0.5, the other person 0.5, two people put together multiplied. Oh my God, it goes down too much, right? And I think this is my enlightened perspective. For example, now we fall in love. How to make that love last? Then I think each person, man or woman, in the composition of that love, it's better to be happy at the level above 1. Don't be below 1. Here I'm talking about a normal person. Then there will be a level of happiness temporarily called 1 point, meaning a round number. It's not a small number, not an odd number. What are the numbers below 1 for? So that when we multiply, I am 1, I multiply with a certain life. At least I keep their life as it is. I don't pull their life down. For example, I am 1, I meet someone with 2 points. They are too happy, they are too excellent, I meet them. Okay, maybe I'm lower than them, I'm not as good as them, but I don't pull their lives down either, because 1 times 2 is 2. They still at least get the level of 2 points when they interact with me. But if I'm 0.5, I meet someone with 2, right? Then I start pulling them down in the relationship. Maybe out there they do something, they shine, they're happy, but every time they meet me, the calculation appears. It's not 0.5 times 2, but now when interacting with me, they are only 1. So I think that way I pull people down, right? And this happens a lot, you guys, especially in relationships. If one of the two people can't take care of themselves, at least at the minimum level of happiness, they will cause problems for the other person. For example, a dependency. I say, for example, I have the personality, I'm spoiled, and I want to be pampered. That's cute, I'm not saying it's not, but if I don't really have that ability, then I will be a burden to others. For example, a person who doesn't know how to drive. I'm saying a very simple thing, not talking about the psychological trauma, you know. You're dating someone and you say, okay, I don't know how to drive, but I don't like to take the bus, I don't like to take a taxi, I want you to take me. Maybe in the early stages, this person is okay, he's trying to woo you, but in the long run, it's very likely that the quality of this guy's work will go down. Why? Maybe he's late for work and gets scolded by his boss. Maybe he's tired from driving, stressed from traffic jams, dust, affecting his mood, right? Then maybe this mood swing affects the friend who doesn't know how to drive. Then when the two of them argue, it starts with, it's your fault. Why don't you learn to drive? You ask me to take you every day. For example, it reveals all sorts of things. So what's the reason, you guys? Just the fact that you can't drive yourself. Let's take the formula of one person being 0.2 multiplied by one person being 1. You see how much it comes out, right? So I still say each person, before coming to a resonance with another person, take care of yourself. Don't let yourself be lacking anything. Strive for your career, no matter if you are male or female. You don't need to be too rich, but you have to be able to take care of yourself. Strive for health. Strive for personal issues. Personal happiness needs to be at a level of 1 or more. I say 1 or more is a basic level. You don't need to be successful. Success is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't need to be successful, but you need to be at the okay level of 1 or more, so that when you multiply with someone, you don't let anyone pull you down, and you don't pull anyone down either. And if you develop, obviously when you meet someone, you support them a lot. I say, for example, you are happy, you have love, you meet someone, you support them a lot. You are 2 points. For example, you meet someone with 1.5 points. 2 people resonate into 3. That's big, you guys. And that's the sublimation of soulmate of that relationship. And here we also talk about the aspect of giving. It's not easy to give, you guys. I've said this many times, it's not easy to give when you're not okay. You can't give. I've seen people who are temporarily called troubled, and so they decide to give. They decide to do charity. I see them scolding the person receiving the charity. I look at them and I feel sorry for both of them, you guys. Because people come there to receive gifts, they're already embarrassed. Many times we give gifts, we give 2 hands, right? To do what? To help people reduce their embarrassment, you guys, really. I also talk to many people. They say it's sad, ma'am. Who wants to come to a meal where they don't have to come here to beg? Right? So I'm also very shy about filming the people receiving. But of course that's everyone's right to do. I'm not judging anything. I'm just saying that even myself, true story, a friend of mine, I'm not talking about anyone else, I'm talking about my friends. Sometimes I see them scolding the person receiving the gift. Then I also go in and give them feedback, you guys. I say, you have a good heart, you give, but if we give, then let's be happy, let's smile at them a little. Let's give them a lunchbox, let's give them a gift, a few kilos of rice. But why don't we also give them a smile? Because if our heart is not happy, we join in such a giving, we somehow still pull the atmosphere down. We make our friends who go with us, we make our friends who do charity together lose their spirit. We make the people receiving the gift also feel ashamed, like they are being given charity, like that, like being given alms. They are sad and see that we unintentionally pull them down. So let's just say, quantifying the numbers. Okay, I have a good heart, I'm not 0.5 anymore, but I'm 0.7 now. But when I combine with other people with a level of happiness below 1, I still pull down to a certain extent. You guys, notice. Of course, I still understand. This is me talking about a friend of mine, and I also exchanged with that person when I talked about this, and I'm still very sympathetic to the fact that a person, when they are suffering, they want to live well to find some meaning in life. This is very understandable, you guys. Sometimes, when you are too happy, you may not know how to take care of the people around you. But when you go through suffering, you naturally understand what suffering is. And a very innocent and wonderful part of you wants to give, so you decide to give. But sometimes there are days when you are not ready to give. There are days when you feel frustrated and depressed, but you are the messenger of giving. Then you will be very easy to give out actions that hurt the recipient. So I told my friend, your heart is definitely noble, but you scolding them like that, it's a pity for them. So on the days when you feel happy, go. The energy that day multiplies very high. And on the days when you feel sad, you can't control your emotions, then you can temporarily off everyone. It's very understandable, for example. So I see that when you listen to me sincerely and you follow, things change a lot, you guys. So back to the issue of giving. It's not easy, you guys. You want to help people with problems, right? That means you want to help people who are at the level of happiness 0.5, for example. Then it's best that you should give them 2 points or more. Then you can give. Because you have 2 points, you multiply with them, you still have 1, which is still at the okay basic level. Now you have 1.5. Let's say you're still a little happy, a little okay. You resonate with them, right? It pulls down to 0.75, you're miserable right away. And I say this, many people understand right away. Many of you want to do good and try to do good, but you will fail when you do good. For example, you see your lover is lazy or unemployed, or you want to do something, you help, you can teach your lover, you can introduce your lover to ABC, and then everything ends up in vain. So in reality, that's when you give, but you don't have enough strength, you guys. You don't have enough power to give, so develop yourself first. I say really, I often say, be a little selfish, then you can give. That is, you have to be from 2 points or more. But if you are compassionate, you have a big heart, you have n points, or 10 points, or 20 points, then you can give freely, and you are still rich. Then I think that the concept that I made up myself, naturally, I lay down and tossed and turned, and I thought of this. I don't know if it coincides with anyone. Of course, this is just my own thinking. Maybe it will coincide with someone. Then a discovery like that, naturally, I see. I look through this perspective, I look at my life, I feel I explain many things. Why sometimes I help others but not successfully. Why sometimes I have good intentions but I help others and then it hurts. It makes two people drift apart. Why are there brothers who do business together, help each other, and then end up in trouble? So it turns out that maybe we look at it with a multiplication calculation, then we can explain a lot of interesting things in this life. then naturally I think of that. I feel happy. Huh? Of course, this is a generalization, you guys. If you want, you can point out that it's wrong. It's not that it's not. Before saying anything to you guys, I think about it a lot. And I think that there are many cases where it's wrong, but the cases where it's right are very many, you guys. When you get married, you choose your friends. You guys, pay attention to evaluate the numbers of people so that it has a long-term, healthy relationship. When you are a number below 1, you try to fix yourself first, improve yourself first, and then develop relationships with people around you. Then it will be healthier. But if you are not okay, you go in and you pull people down, then it will also break. The same thing with choosing friends. If you say now that you have to choose your friends carefully, it sounds cold and heartless. But now when you read the words of your grandparents, you see it's right. Choose your friends. Try to find a good friend with a level of happiness, kindness from 1 or more. The person who is 10 points, then I don't dare to reach them. They are too high. But I can find someone with 1 point, so that at least I can play with you. No matter how bad I am, I can be myself. You won, I won, 2 of us multiplied together. 1 times 1 equals 1. Meaning that our common ground, the level, no one is pulled down. At least it has to be like that. Then everything will be very okay. But when you see a relationship where you are being pulled down, then listen to your grandparents, choose your friends. And then thank you. Grateful to you guys for listening to me. Goodbye and see you again.